President Vladimir Putin's war accelerated Poland's plans to modernize and expand its military. This year, Poland is expected to spend 4% of its gross domestic product on defense, double its requirements under NATO. Blaszczak said the aim to double the size of the military to 300,000 troops is within reach and realistic, though he did not give a time frame. Warsaw is turning to major arms deals with South Korea to establish supremacy in continental Europe. Polish Defense Minister Mariusz Blaszczak pledged in July that his country would have the most powerful land forces in Europe. It's well on its way. Poland already has more tanks and howitzers than Germany and is on course to have a much larger army with a target of 300,000 troops by 2035 compared with Germany's current 170,000. Today, Poland's military is about 150,000 strong, with 30,000 belonging to a new territorial defense force set up in 2017. These are weekend soldiers who undergo 16 days of training, followed up by refresher courses. They were initially seen as a bit of a joke, but Ukraine's success in using mobile militia equipped with anti-tank and anti-aircraft missiles now makes the idea seem much more sensible. Even as Washington has welcomed Poland's defense spending pledges, there are also questions about whether Warsaw will really follow through, as well as frustration that the country is turning to South Korea for some of its biggest purchases. Poland signed a 23 billion zloty, 4.9 billion euros, deal for 250 Abrams tanks from the US this spring, a quick replacement for the 240 Soviet-era tanks sent to Ukraine. Its air force is equipped with US F-16S, and in 2020 Warsaw signed a $4.6 billion deal for 32 F-35 fighters. But the focus of its recent military spend has been Korea, where it has signed a flurry of deals to buy tanks, aircraft and other arms. So far, Poland has ordered between $10 billion, $12 billion worth of weaponry from Korea, said Mariusz Stielma, editor and analyst at Nowa Technika Wojskowa, a military technology news and analysis website. The deals include 180 K2 Black Panther tanks, 200 K9 Thunder howitzers, 48 Fa-50 light attack aircraft, and 218 K239 Chunmoo rocket launchers. That's only the used gear. Poland's appetite for new arms is even bigger. Complementing the immediate supplies, the Koreans are expected to supply a total of 1,000 K2 tanks and 600 K9 howitzers by the mid to late 2020s. The attraction of Korea is that their military equipment is generally cheaper than American and European alternatives, and they can produce it on a tight timetable. The purchases are, of course, a poke in the eye to French President Emmanuel Macron's dreams of strategic autonomy, in which he imagines a Europe that is able to defend itself with homegrown, most likely French, weapons. United States gave the green light to the package of up to $10 billion, including the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, HIMARS, and 185-mile long-range tactical missile systems. Last year, the U.S. Congress approved $288.6 million in military financing for Poland to deter and defend against the increased threat from Russia. The cash would relieve some of the economic pressures of Poland's spending amid sharply slowing economic growth and 17% inflation. Analysts believe such plans could make the Polish army the most powerful in Europe. French defense website Meta Defense highlights a spectacular reinforcement of the Polish army's overall capacity, which by the end of the decade will include 1,500 modern tanks, an equal number of infantry combat vehicles, 1,200 mobile artillery units, and several thousand light armored vehicles to exceed the arms capacity of the French, German, UK, Italian, Dutch and Belgian forces combined. Jarosław Kaczynski, the leader of Law and Justice, Poland's governing party, and considered by many to be the most powerful politician in the country, said, "I have said many times that it is better to be in debt and even have to make cuts to budgets in other areas than to be occupied.